Mr. Robinson, why don't you go ahead and get started?
Mr. Chairman, members, my name is Paul Robinson. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members. My name is Paul Robinson. I'm Research Director at Southwest Research and Information Center, nonprofit research and education organization in Albuquerque. And I'm here to present a request to the committee on behalf of our coalition based in Albuquerque called our Aquifer Working Group. And due to the threats to the Albuquerque drinking water aquifer from releases from Sandia National Laboratory environmental restoration sites, including the Tierras Arroyo and Tech Area 5 and burn site and mixed waste landfill, and the lack of Sandia National Laboratory and DOE National Nuclear Security Administration funding for complete remediation, we are requesting the committee to direct staff to draft a memorial to support increased Sandia and DOE funding for environmental restoration projects on Sandia National Laboratory property. And we're asking this in the interest of trying to encourage you to encourage the base and the department to be more proactive in their characterization of groundwater contamination and their responses to action. I've provided you language that is in a letter that the Water Utility Authority's Water Protection Advisory Board sent to Sandia and DOE in August in order to encourage the funding for environmental restoration at the initiative of the Endangered Aquifer Working Group. And so the letter is in the material that I emailed you, and also the language transposed into something closer to a memorial form. The sites of concern here include areas that are south and east of the Albuquerque Airport, in the area near the south end of Eubank Boulevard and south of Tierras Arroyo, where the Albuquerque aquifer has been drawn down the most due to pumping. Areas where it was drawn down in the 100 to 120 foot range since 1960. And the debris that was allowed to leak at these sites began during the 50s. And so the whole 40 or 50 years that Albuquerque's been pumping, sites were leaking before there was a recognition that septic tanks were not appropriate for use on the mesa any more than they were in the valley. There's on the order of 7 billion gallons of wastewater that were disposed of in the Tierras Arroyo area at the south end of Eubank. And there's more than 1.5 billion gallons of wastewater that were disposed of in the landfills near the reactors on the base at Tech Area 5. And so these are enormous volumes of water, much larger than the near 20 million barrels of fuel oil that leaked at Kirkland base. So these are the largest spills by volume in the Albuquerque area. The Environment Department issued notice of deficiency for 2005 reports on the Tech Area 5 and Tierras Arroyo sites, but has not been actively enforcing since the lab hasn't had the budget to complete the reports that are required. And the permittee budget is what funds the agency staff. So the need for more responsible funding levels from the federal agencies to address these large releases, first completing the groundwater investigations to determine the extent of the problem, then do the corrective measure studies to identify the remedies. Those are the processes that have been delayed due to the lack of funding. And so I encourage you to take the same action that the Water Utility Authority and the Water Protection Advisory Board did, and to draft language to encourage this additional funding, and a memorial seems like the appropriate legislative vehicle. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate the opportunity to address the matter.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Mr. McCoy?
Yes. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Senators and Representatives. I'm Dave McCoy, Executive Director for Citizen Action New Mexico. I'm an attorney with over 20 years' experience in hazardous waste and management law and environmental matters. Our organization is a member of our endangered aquifer group. I want to thank you for your consideration of the serious long-term contamination that's facing Albuquerque's drinking water supply. Both future drought and contamination threaten the water supply. I want to discuss with you today two sites. One, the Sandia National Laboratories mixed waste landfill dump, and the Kirkland Air Force Base aviation gas and jet fuel spill. Both of these sites show danger of not doing timely and reliable groundwater monitoring and cleanup before contamination reaches the drinking water. At Kirkland Air Force Base, the fuel spill was discovered in 1997. It wasn't until 2006 that monitoring was performed that detected jet fuel floating on the aquifer at about 500 feet deep. The man that discovered that is sitting over here in the corner, Dwight Patterson. And so first I want to discuss the mixed waste landfill. There's never been a reliable groundwater monitoring network for data from that site. The dump operated from 1959 to 1988. Sandia intends to leave radioactive and hazardous waste in the dump. That would include 119 barrels of plutonium waste. The stuff will be around for 250,000 years for future generations. It's in shallow trenches.
Turn it around, David, so we can see it too.
There's tons of depleted uranium, tritium, lead, beryllium, cadmium, solvents like PCBs, PCE. The wastes are dumped in unlined pits and trenches, in cardboard boxes, cans such as you see here, plastic bags. In 1989, they installed 4 groundwater monitoring wells at the dump. Within just a couple of years, all the agencies, all the regulatory agencies, including Sandia, the Department of Energy, EPA, NMED, all knew that the groundwater monitoring wells were in the wrong location. Nevertheless, they took 15 years of data from these monitoring wells that were providing worthless data, and they went to an administrative hearing in December of 2004, told an administrative judge that there was no evidence of contamination. Well, how could there be? You didn't have a monitoring well that was wells that were capable of detecting the contamination in the first place to any great degree. Well, a 2005 final order was issued by then Secretary Curry, and he required Sandia Labs to make a review every 5 years. That would be May of 2010 would be the first 5-year review period. And it was supposed to discuss the feasibility for excavation of the mixed waste landfill and whether the dirt cover was continuing to be suitable. That 5-year review hasn't been made. It was part of the administrative order. Instead, the Environment Department is intending on extending that 5-year review out another 7 years. So it'll be 12 years since the order was made. So this is what we want, is a memorial asking that the 5-year review be performed right now by Sandia Laboratories. It was their duty, and it was mandated by the final order. And here's the thing. There's a long-term monitoring and maintenance plan that's out. It still relies on several of the fraudulent wells that were put in the ground, and 3 of the new wells that were put in the wrong way, and they're also not providing adequate data. And there's a lot of information to this effect that's come out. We filed a complaint with the EPA, Region 6, in 2007. And we ultimately had to file another complaint with the EPA Office of Inspector General. They came out with a $275,000 report that said, yes, EPA staff at Region 6 agreed with us about the concerns about the wells, including the new monitoring wells. The report was stamped confidential, so we couldn't get it. And we're now in 2012 still trying to get that report. It's a matter of a settlement conference right now. I've been getting some of the documents on discovery, not discovery, but they've been furnishing them. And it's not a pretty picture. It's not a pretty picture about the defective nature of that groundwater monitoring network. So we want a stay to this approval of the long-term monitoring and maintenance plan until after this 5-year study's been done and a public hearing has been held where we can present the evidence that's come forward the past 7 years. It really needs to be looked at, you know, and we want that opportunity. So I've put 4 things on the second page of this presentation to you that you can see that we're asking for.
Could we have microphones the next meeting and meet when people can come?
We'll continue to try and make ourselves available, and please understand, we'll be all over the state in all hours on many different subjects. So, all right, we have a tour to begin, and I know we have to be out of here at a reasonable time, so thank you. Can we do that? Can we leave materials in here?
Sure. No, we don't have 25 feet.
Committee members, how many?
Otherwise, you're only invited to fall in. That wouldn't be nice.
Okay.